Hi guys, welcome to Waec 2023 past question solutions. Starting with question 1, it says evaluate correct to 3 decimal places this following number, this fraction, all right? 4.314 times this, all over that. So the first thing you want to do is to punch it in your calculator, all right? Waec provides a non-scientific calculator, so you can easily punch all these values into your calculator. And what are you going to get when you punch everything here into your calculator? You are going to have something like this: 0.036057, and the question says we should evaluate it to 3 decimal places. All right, so we are going to be evaluating it to 3 decimal places. So what does that mean? It simply means count 3 digits after these decimal points. So let's go 1, 2, and 3. So we only need these 3 digits. All right, so what's going to be the answer? Since the fourth digit is 0, it's not up to 5, that means our answer to 3 decimal places will be 0.036, which is option B. Hi guys, so this is question number 2, and it says there are 30 students in a class. 15 study woodwork and 13 study metalwork. 6 study neither of the two subjects. How many students study woodwork but not metalwork? All right, so this question is going to make us have to draw a Venn diagram. Okay, since there are two things being compared, I'm going to draw 2 circles. All right, and I'll let the first circle stand for woodwork, and then this one is going to stand for metalwork. All right, now this universal set, everything inside here is the total number of students in the class, which we are told is 30. So I'm just going to write it outside here. So we have 30 students, and you are told that 15 study woodwork. So I'm going to put 15 inside the box here. So we have 15 studying woodwork. Then we have 13 studying metal work. Then we are told that 6 study neither. So I'm going to keep the 6 outside of these circles because they don't study either of these two. And then there's a certain number that study both, which is going to be my X. All right. So we are told to find it if this is X, which means people that study both metalwork and woodwork, as is shown by the circles overlapping. It means that these woodwork people will be 15 minus X. That is the people that study woodwork alone. All right. And then this will also be 13 minus X, which means the people that study metalwork alone. What does the question tell us to find? It says how many students study woodwork but not metalwork, which means they want us to know how many students are in this part of the circle. All right, people that study just this woodwork without studying metalwork. So it means we need to know what our X is. When we get our X, then we can subtract that X from 15, and we'll know the people that study only woodwork. So let's proceed. So I'm going to have everything here. The truth is that everything inside this box is going to be always be equal to the 30 students. So all you need to do is to form a simple equation whereby you have that 15 minus x, all right, minus x, that is this first set, plus this x in the middle, plus 13 minus x, plus these 6 people who study neither will all be equal to 30 students. So when you sum that up together, you collect like terms. We are going to collect this 15, collect plus 13 plus 6. That's going to give you a total of 34. Then minus x plus x will cancel each other, and you're left with minus x is equals to 30. All right. So you just simply need to collect like terms here. When you move this minus x over to this side, and you take this 30 over to mean 34, you are left with 34. Yes, 34 minus 30 is equals to x. So that means 4 is equals to x. All right. So if x is equals to 4, then it means now we can go back to this our original equation here and get those who study woodwork alone without metalwork. So how do you get the final answer? All you need to do is just 15, all right, minus 4 is equals to 11. So the answer is 11. There are 11 students that study just woodwork and no metalwork. Hi guys, welcome to question 3. It's an indices question. It says we should solve 2 raised to the power 5x divided by 2 raised to the power x is equals to the fifth root of 2 raised to the power 10. All right, so let's apply some basic indices knowledge here. So if I have these two that the bases are equal, I have 2 here and I have 2 here, and they are dividing, it means I can subtract their powers. So I'm going to have 2 raised to the power 5x minus x. All right. The bases are equal. And since it's dividing, I'm going to subtract their powers. Is equals to, now this fifth root, I can also, as well, instead of writing fifth root, I can also write it as 2 raised to the power 10 or raised to the power 1 over 5. All right. It's the same thing. I'm expressing it in a different form. So let's go over here. 2 raised to the power 5x minus x. 5x minus x is the same thing as 4x. So I have 2 raised to the power 4x is equals to, now here I'm going to have 5 dividing 10 to give you 2. All right. So I'm having equals to 2 raised to the power 2. So when I get here, you can see now that the bases are equal. So once the bases are equal, you can then equate the powers. So I then have 4x is equals to 2. So you can simply divide both sides by 2, and then what do you have? Or rather by 4 to eliminate this 4 here. So 4 is going to cancel 4. So x is equals to 2 over 4. Or if you simplify further, you have 1 over 2, which is option C. Hi guys, so welcome to question number 4. All right, and question number 4 says 1 plus the cube root of x minus 3 is equals to 4. All right, so obviously we're looking for x. So the first thing I want to do is to collect like terms. So I'm going to move this 1 over to the other side. All right, and I'm going to have that the cube root of x minus 3 is equals to 4 minus 1. All right. So the cube root of x minus 3 is equals to 4 minus 1 is 3. So the next thing is to take care of this cube root. How do I do so? I'm going to take the cube of both sides. I'm going to raise both to power 3. All right. Because square and square roots are opposites. Cube and cube roots are opposites. So to take care of this cube root, I just simply took the cube of everything. So this cube is going to cancel the cube roots here. So I'm left with x minus 3 is equals to 3 raised to the power 3. And as we know, 3 raised to the power 3 is the same thing as 3 times 3 times 3, which is 27. So I have here that x is minus 3 is equals to 27. Collecting like terms, I have x equals to 27 plus 3. So x equals to 30, which is option C. So hi guys, let's look at this question number 5 Waec question. It says express 413 base 7, express it in base 5. So we know there's no direct link from base 7 to base 5. We have to go through base 10, which means I'm first going to convert this number from base 7 to base 10, and then I'll convert from base 10 to base 5. So let's go. Let's convert 413 in base 7 to base 10. What's the first step? You give them powers. So we are going to start from this ending. You give it a power of 0. The next number has a power of 1. The next number has a power of 2. All right. Then now we can expand. We'll multiply each number by the base raised to the power. Let's go. So starting with the first number, 4 times the base, which is 7 raised to the power 2, plus 1 times 7 raised to the power 1, plus 3 times 7 raised to the power 0. All right. So let's proceed. What is 4? 4 times what is 7 raised to the power 2? That's 49. Plus 1 times 7 raised to the power 1 is what? 7. Plus 3 times 7 raised to the power 0 is 1. All right. So what is 4 times 49? I'm going to punch that in my calculator. 4 times 49 gives me 196. So I'm going to have 196 plus 1 times 7 is 7 plus 3 times 1 is 3. So when you sum up these 3 digits, everything you get is 206 in base 10. So now we have gotten halfway to base 10. Now let's move to base 5. How do we get to base 5? We simply divide this number by the base 5. We keep dividing until we get to 0. So 206 divided by 5 is going to give you 41 remainder 1. We are going to divide again. 41 divided by 5 is going to give me 8 remainder 1. And then 8 divided by 5 is going to give me 1 remainder 3. And then I'm going to divide again. 1 divided by 5 cannot go. That is 0 remainder 1. So you take your answers from bottom to up. All right. That gives me, and the answers are the remainders. So that's 1, 3, 1, 1 in base 5, which is option B. All right, guys. So let's look at this question number 6 of Waec past question. Log to the base 3 of x plus log to the base 3 of x minus 8 is equals to 2. Now, The first thing I want to do is to make everything appear in the same logarithm and the same base. So you notice that we have a number here that's just 2. But if I also attach this to the back of it, 2 log to the base 3 of 3 is the same thing. Why? Because everything here is still equals to 1. All right. So I'm simply introducing this so that all of them can be in logarithm of base 3. So when I have this, let's proceed with the normal rules of logarithm. Now, if you have a logarithm in this base with another logarithm of the same base adding each other, we can actually simply multiply their numbers. So I'm going to multiply this number x multiplied by this other number x minus 8 because they are both in logarithm of base 3. So I'm going to have log to the base 3 of x into x minus 8 is equals to 2 log to the base 3 of 3. All right. And this 2 log to the base 3 of 3, I can also decide to take this coefficient and put it as the power. All right. Such that it becomes 3 squared. So instead of writing it as 2 log base 3 of 3, I can easily write it as log to the base 3 of 3 squared, all right, is equals to all of this right here. So now that they are both in the same basis on the other on either sides of the equation, I can easily cancel log 3 here and also cancel log 3 here, such that the final equation I'm having is x into x minus 8 is equals to 3 squared, all right. And if I expand further, what I'm going to have is x squared minus 8x is equals to 9. Are you noticing the shape where this is going? So you can actually, I'm going to have to clear this. You can actually now have a quadratic equation from what we've solved so far. So let me get some space so we can see using this equation we have. Now I have a quadratic equation of the form x squared minus 8x. I'm going to take this 9 over to this side, so minus 9 is equal to 0. All right. So all I need to do now is to factorize. All right. And in factorizing, I'm going to ask myself, when I'm factorizing, I'm going to ask myself, what numbers can I multiply? They are going to give me minus 9. All right. And then when I add them, I'm going to have minus 8. All right. So those two numbers are minus x and plus 9, or rather plus x rather and minus 9, right? Because if you have plus 1x plus 1 times minus 9 is going to give you minus 9, and then if you add them together, plus 1x and minus 9x is going to give you minus 8x. So this is under factorization. So instead of minus 8x, I'm going to replace it with x squared plus x, all right, minus 9x minus 9 equal to 0. So then I can factorize. I can bring out what is common here. X is common here. So I'm going to have x into x plus 1. And then in this other direction, if you notice these two sets, including the minus sign here, minus 9 is common to both of them. So I'm going to bring out minus 9, all right, minus 9 into, this becomes x plus 1, all right. So I can factorize further. X minus 9, I'm taking these two that were not in bracket before, this and this, that's what is here now. And then the other bracket is the x plus 1 we already have in the brackets. So x plus 1 is equal to 0, all right. So then I can simply equate the two of them, all right. I can simply equate either of them to 0, which I have. So since I have x plus 1, x minus 9, so let's go. X plus x minus 9 is equals to 0, or x plus 1 is equal to 0. So it means x is equals to 9, or x is equals to minus 1. So since you cannot have it as a negative number, you can't have x as negative, it means that the correct answer is this: x is equal to 9, which is option D. All right, guys, let's look at this Waec pass question number 7. It says Mr. Manu is 4 times as old as his son, Adu. 7 years ago, the sum of their ages was 76 years old. How old is Adu? All right, so I'm going to use M to represent the age of Mr. Manu and A for his son, Adu. So from this story we are given, we are told that his age, Mr. Manu's age is, which is equal to 4 times the age of the son, Adu, which is 4A. All right. And then 7 years ago, which means if see some of their ages was 76 years, which means 7 years ago, if you subtract 7 years from Mr. Manu's age, that's 7 years ago, plus if you also subtract 7 years, let me use A again, minus 7. The sum of their ages 7 years ago was equals to 76. And we are told to find how old is Adu. In other words, we are looking for A. So we have been given a simple equation. All right. So what I can do now is I can, in place of this M here, I already have from equation 1 that M equals to 4A. So in place of M, I can put 4A. And I'm going to have 4A minus 7 plus A minus 7 equals to 76. All right. So when you collect like terms, 4A plus A is equals to 5A. Minus 7 is equal to minus 14 is equals to 76. All right. So collecting like terms further, I have 5A is equals to 76 plus 14. All right. And 76 plus 14, that's 5A is equals to 90. So if you divide both sides by 5 to take care of the 5, you are going to have that A is equals to 90 divided by 5, which is 18 years. It's that simple. All you need to do is make sure you understand the question and know how to translate it from English language to mathematics language, and you are good to go. All right, guys, so welcome to question 8 on this Waec past questions. We are told to factorize completely x squared minus y plus z all squared. All right. If you look at these terms, you notice that this term is a square, x square. We also have another square, y plus z square. All right. And they are being subtracted. So this is difference of two squares. And we know that from difference of two squares, when you have x squared minus y squared, the answer is always equal to x minus y, x plus y. All right. So we are going to use that knowledge here to solve. So if generally speaking, difference of two squares is x minus y, x plus y. So now what I'm going to do is this x represents this first term, and then this y represents this y plus z. So anywhere I see y in the general formula, I'm going to put this y plus z. So let's go. I'm going to have x minus y plus z, all right, and then the second bracket x plus y plus z. It's as simple as that. So let's open this bracket. I'm going to have x. If I open this, I'm going to have minus y, and this minus will interact with this plus here. I'm going to have minus z, and then the second bracket x plus y plus z. So that's the final answer, which is option B. All right, guys, welcome to question 9 of this Waec past questions. Find the roots of this quadratic equation. 3m squared minus 2m minus 65 is equal to 0. So the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to multiply the 3m squared with minus 65 to give me minus 195m squared. All right. And the next thing is I'm going to look for two factors which can multiply to give me 195 and can add up to give me minus 2m. So I know that 15 times 13 gives me 195. All right. So the sign, how do you get the sign? Since I want this answer to, I need something negative. It means that this bigger number is going to be negative, and the smaller number can take the positive sign. So writing that equation again, I have 3m squared minus 2m, or instead of minus 2m rather, that's what I'm replacing. I'm going to have 3m squared minus 15m now, all right, plus 13m minus 65, all right. So now looking at these first two terms, what is common to both? 3m is common to both. So I'm going to bring out 3m. I left it what? M minus 5. And then looking at the second term, what is common to both? Plus 13 into m minus 5 as well. All right. So I'm going to now bring these two that were not in the brackets. I'm going to bring them together. So now I have 3m plus 13. All right. And then the other brackets, m minus 5. They are all equal to 0. So I have that 3m plus 13 is equals to 0, and m minus 5 is equal to 0. So what that means is I can now make m the substitute formula both ways. So here I have that 3m is equals to minus 13, or m is equals to 5. So one answer is solved. And then for the second answer, I just solve a little. M will be equals to minus 13 over 3. M equals to 5. So which is option C? Welcome to question 10 of this Waec past questions. M varies jointly as the square of n and the square root of q. All right. So this is a question on joint proportion. So if I'm going to write that in mathematical terms, it means m's varies jointly as the square of n, which is as n square, and the square root of q, which is square root of q. All right. So this is it in mathematical form, which therefore means that m is equals to, when I introduce my constant k, m is equals to k n squared square root of q. Now, if m is 24, I'm going to put m as 24 when n is 2 and q is 4. So if n is 2, that means 2 squared will be 4, and then root q, that is root q is 4, and then I put my k. So 24 is equals to, square root of 4 is 2, so this is 4 times 2k, which is 8k. So 24 is equals to 8k. So if I divide both sides by 8, I have that my k is equals to 3. So now that I have k as 3, I'm going to impute it here, that k is equals to 3. So the general equation becomes m is equals to 3n squared root q. So when you are solving whether direct, inverse, or joint proportion, your first step is to write out the formula from the question you are given, and then introduce your k, and then solve for your k using the parameters given in the question. And then you write the equation with your k in it. Once you have done that, you can then find what you are asked to find in the question. So we are told in this case to find m. We are looking for m, all right, when n is, all right, 5 and q is 9. So m will be equals to 3 times n squared. They gave us n as 5. So that's 5 squared, which is 25. So 3 times 25 times square root of q, that is square root of 9. So m is equal to 3 times 75. 3 times 25 is 75, times, what is the square root of 9 is 3. All right, so m is 75 times 3, which is 225. Option D is correct. All right, you're welcome to question 11 of this Waec past question. Now, this question looks a bit tricky, but it's actually not. All right, so we are given two ratios, two pairs of ratios, m ratio n as 2 whole number 1 over 3 ratio 1 whole number 1 over 5, and n ratio q as this. Then we are told to find q ratio m. So you notice there's no direct relationship between q and m, but we are asked to find it based off of the information we have from the relationship between m and n, and also n and q. So how do you go about solving this? The first thing I want to do is I want to turn this into an improper fraction, so it's easier for me to solve. All right. So first of all, this first m here, 2 over 1 over 3, is the same thing as 7 over 3 ratio. The other number is 1 over 1 over 5, which is the same thing as 6 ratio 5. So this is my new ratio for m ratio n. All right. And then for this n ratio q, I'm going to write this other way. 1 over 1 over 2 is the same thing as 3 over 2 ratio, for the q part of it, 1 over 1 over 3 is 4 over 3. All right. So I have m ratio n and n ratio. I've done nothing but to express them in proper, or rather improper fractions. Now, if I have m ratio n and I also have n ratio q, and I'm told to find q ratio m, we know that m ratio n is the same thing as m over n, right? And then I also have n over q from the question, and I'm told to find m q ratio m. Do you notice that if I should divide these two ratios I was given, if I should divide these two ratios I was given, or multiply them rather, you'll notice that n is going to cancel n, right? And I'm going to be left with my m over q, which is what I'm looking for, or the inverse of what I'm looking for. I'm looking for q over m. So if I can multiply these two ratios I was given, I'm going to be left with m over q. All I need to now do is to invert it, and there goes my answer. So let's proceed. Let's proceed by multiplying. So I'm going to multiply the two ratios given to me in the question, so I can be left with a ratio that is equivalent to m ratio q. Then I'm just going to invert it. So let's multiply first of all. So I have 7 over 3, the first ratio, ratio 6 over 5, which is like divided by 6 over 5. That's the first ratio I was given, times the second set of ratio which I have here, 3 over 2 divided by, that is meaning of ratio, 4 over 3. All right. So I can easily flip these division signs so that it's easier. So I have 7 over 3 times 5 over 6, all right, all times 3 over 2 times 3 over 4. Okay. So next thing is to multiply. I don't think there's any common term here. So 7 times 5, that will be 35 over 3 times 6 is 18, times, here I have 9 over 2 times 4 is 8. All right. So I'm going to divide. 9 is going to go here once. 9 is going to go here twice. So nothing else can divide. So I'm left with 35 over 16. So it means my m ratio q here is equals to 35 over 16, or 35 ratio 16. So if I flip it, I'm going to have q ratio m, which means q ratio m, it will now be 16 over 35, or 16 ratio 35, which is my option A. I hope it was not confusing. All right, yeah, welcome to question 12 of this Waec pass question. And the question says 1/3 of the sum of two numbers is 12. Twice of their difference is 12. Find the numbers. So let the two numbers also be x and y. Now we are told that if you sum them together, x plus y, all right, 1/3 of this, that is 1/3 of x plus y, is equals to 12. That's my first equation. And then I'm also told that twice their difference, that is uh, x minus y, if you should subtract them, twice of that difference is also equal to 12. So from the first equation, if I move these 3 over, I can multiply both sides by 3. I'm going to have these 3 cancel out. All right. I'm going to have these 3 cancel out these 3, and I'm left with the fact that x plus y is equals to 36. And then this will place, if I also divide both sides by 2, uh, divide by 2, I'm going to be left with the fact that x minus y is equals to 6. All right. So it's a simple simultaneous equation, and I can just choose to subtract both equations from each other. All right. So if I minus this, what I'm going to let s minus s is 0. So plus y minus minus y becomes plus y plus y. That's 2y is equal to 36 minus 6 is equals to 30. So from here, I can see that y is equals to 15. So the second number is equals to 15. I can actually just stop solving because there's only one option that contains 15 there. So I already know the other number is going to, the other one is going to be option A, which is 21. But for the sake of solving, I can still impute. If y is equals to 15, impute it in any of these equations you want, any of them. So I'm going to put equation 2. It looks simpler. So I had x minus y equals to 6. So I'm going to now put y as 15, which I've solved. So x minus 15 is equals to 6. Next thing is to collect like terms. I'm going to move this minus 15 over to the other side, and I'm left with x is equals to 6 plus 15. So x is equals to 21, which is option A. So the majority of what you need to do is to try and understand questions. When you understand questions, it's not going to be difficult for you to translate it into a mathematical equation and to solve it. All right, welcome to question 13, and it says find the quadratic equation whose roots are 2 over 3 and minus 3 over 4. So this is like a quadratic equation from the ending. We are coming back to the beginning. We know we always have two answers in a quadratic equation called roots. So these are the answers in this case, 2 over 3 and minus 3 over 4. So what this means is that at the end of solving this equation, the person had y was equals to 2 over 3 or y is equals to minus 3 over 4. So we are going to, from this solution, work our way back to the beginning. All right. So the first thing I'm now going to do is I'm going to then take this 2 over 3 over to meet the y. So it means the person had y minus 2 over 3 is equals to 0, or y plus 3 over 4 equals to 0. All right. So I'm then going to put them into brackets again. Remember, I said we are going from the ending to the beginning. That's how to solve when you're looking for a quadratic equation from the answers. All right. So now I'm going to put them in brackets again. Y minus 2 over 3, uh, y plus 3 over 4 equals 0. And from here, I'm going to expand. So expanding, I have y times y, which will be y squared, and then y times 3 over 4, that will be plus 3 over 4y, and then minus 2 over 3 times y will be minus 2 over 3y, and then minus 2 over 3 times plus 3 over 4, that is going to give me minus 6 over 12, which is the same thing as minus 1 over 2. All right, is equal to 0. So we have fractions here, and we are going to have to take care of it. We have two fractions, 4 and 3. We also have, in fact, three fractions rather. So what's the LCM of these three fractions? What's the smallest number that I can use to clear them all out? It's 12. So I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by 12. So I'm going to multiply everything here by 12. 12. All right. Same thing with 0 times 12. It will give me 0. So let's go. So 12 times y squared will give me 12y squared plus, now 12 times 3y over 4. 4 is going to go into 12 three times. 3 times 3y will be 9y. Then I put my minus. Then 12 times 2 over 3y. 3 is going to go into 12 4 times. 4 times 2 will be 8y. And then 12 times minus 1 over 2, that will be minus 6, right? Is equal to 0. So I have like terms here in the middle, 9y and 8y, subtracting each other. So I'm going to have as my final answer 12y squared, 12y squared plus 9y minus 8y is the same thing as plus y minus 6 equals to 0, right? Which is option C. Welcome to question 14 of this Waec past questions. It says make x the subject of this relation. All right, so we have y is equals to ax cubed minus b all over 3z. So the thing is, I'm going to start taking care of the numbers disturbing the x. You can see the x is being disturbed a lot. So the first and the easiest one to take care of is this fraction. So I'm going to clear it by cross multiplying. So I'm going to cross multiply something like this. So I'm going to have y times 3z, which will be 3yz is equals to ax cubed minus b. The next easy thing to take care of is this minus b. So I'm going to take it over to the other side. When you are asked to make something subject of the relation, it means make that term, that letter, to stand alone. So anything disturbing x, I'm going to remove it one by one, starting from the easiest term to remove. All right. So I'm going to add, I'm going to move over to the other side. So I'm going to have 3yz plus b is equals to ax cubed. All right, so we are progressing. Now we just have a and the cube disturbing x. So let's first take care of the a. We are going to divide both sides by a. All right, so let me write this x portion. I want to write this portion first now. So when a divides a, I'm going to be left with x cubed equals to 3yz plus b over a. And to get my final answer, I just take the cube root of both sides. Yes, I'm going to take the cube root of both sides because cube root is what is going to cancel this cube for me. So the cube root of x cube is equals to the cube root of 3yz plus b over a. All right. So it means x is equals to cube roots, all right, of 3yz plus b over a. So where is that in the option? That should be option B. Now let's look at this question on financial mathematics. So the price of a shoe was decreased by 22%. And then if the new price, this is question 15, if the new price was $27.30, what was the original price? Now we are told that the shoe's price was decreased by 22%. So what's that total decrease? That means the new price is 100 minus 22% of what it was. That means this new price is equals to 78% of the original price. All right. So we have that this new price, $27.3, is equals to 78% of this original price we are looking for. So from there, the original price, we are going to call it X. So this is 78% of X, all right? So 27.3, the new price, is equals to 78% is the same thing as, if I'm going to convert that percentage to fraction, it's the same thing as 78 over 100, right? So I'm going to, which is also 0.78. So I can also write this as 0.78x, all right? So X stands for the original price we are looking for. So what do? I simply divide both sides by 0.78 divided by 0.78, and then I'm left with my X. This is going to cancel out. So X will be equals to, when you divide this with your calculator, you see that X is equals to $35. So the original price of this item was $35. Welcome to question 16. It says the radius and height of a solid cylinder are 8 centimeters and 14 centimeters respectively. Find, correct to two decimal place, the total surface area. Now, what you need to know is the formula for the total surface area. Once you know it, you can simply impute the parameters in the question and you are done. So the formula for total surface area of a cylinder is 2 pi r into r plus h, where r stands for the radius and h stands for the height. So we are giving the radius, the height, and even pi in the question. All we need to do is to impute. So let's go. 2 pi r, that's 2 times 22 over 7 times the radius is, let's see, 8. All right, that's the radius, into r plus h into 8 plus 14. All right, so this is 44 over 7 times 8 times, what is 8 plus 14? That should be 22. So I'm going to punch my calculator. I'm going to multiply uh, everything at the top first of all, and then I will multiply divided by 7 at the bottom. So 44 times 8 times 22 gives me 7744, 7744 all over 7. So when I punch that in my calculator, divided by 7, I get 1106.2857. 1106.2857. I'm told to find correct to two decimal places. So what is the first decimal place? It is the first number after the decimal point. What is the second one? It's here. Now, for me to find to stop at two decimal place, I will look at the third number, this third decimal place. If it's up to 5, then I'm going to approximate the second number, all right, to the nearest number. So since this is up to 5, my 8 is going to increase one step and become 9. So the final answer becomes 1106.29, which is option B, option C rather. So you see that you not only do you know have to learn the formula, you have to be very careful that you know something as easy as decimal places. Otherwise, if you are hurrying and you just see 2 8s, which is what you got in calculator, you might just mark it thinking it was the correct answer and it's wrong. So be careful and make sure that you read the question and understand before submitting your final answers. All right, guys, welcome to number 17 of now. So in this diagram, you can see we are given that O is the center of the circle, and we are given that NT is equal to that these two lines are equal. NT, all right, NT tangent here at the bottom, this line, and you see a chord here that meets this tangent. They form an angle here, T looking for. The alternate angle segment tells us the angle that is formed between this tangent and the chord, this angle T, is equal to the angle that that same chord also subtends. If you look at this chord, notice it subtends an angle here. This chord subtends an chord NS. You notice that it subtends an angle here at the tangent. So the angle that is between a tangent and the chord, which is this T, is always equal to the angle subtended by the chord, which is this. That's the answer. Question number 18 says a sphere has a radius of find in terms of time. So what's the formula for a sphere? The formula is 4 over 3 pi r cube. So all you simply need to do is essentially find the time of pi. Pi is going to remain the same. The only thing we are putting in is radius as 3. So this will be 4 over 3 times pi times 3 times 3 times 3. Alright, so this 3 will cancel one of the ways. We are left with 4 times pi times 9. So 4 times pi times 3 times 3 times 9. Alright, so 9 times 4 is 6. So we are left with 6 pi cm, which is option C. Question number 19 says arrange the following numbers in ascending order: 110, 31, 5. You notice they are in different bases. The first thing you want to do is to simply convert them in uniform bases, which is base 10, and then you can then compare. We are going to convert 110, we are going to convert 31, and we are going to convert 42. So let's do 110 in base 2. Yeah, if you give it power 0, 1, 2, what are you going to have? So you are going to have equal to 1 times 2 raised to the power 2 plus 0, which is 1 times 2 is 4 plus 1 times 2 plus this is 0. So I have 1 plus 1 times 4, which is 4 plus 2 plus 0, 6. So the first number is 6. And then I do the same thing for 1 in base 8. So I'm going to give it power 0, 1. That's 3 times 8 1 plus 1 times 8 raised to the power 0. And this is 3 times 8 is 24 plus 1 times 8 raised to the power 0 is 1. This is like 1 times 1. 1 times 2 is 1. So 1 is 25. And then the last number is 5. So I'll give it power 12. That gives me 4 times 5 raised to the power 1. 2 times 5 raised to the power 0. 4 times 5 is 20 because 2 times 5 plus 5 raised to the power 0 is 1. 2 times 2 is 2. 20 plus 2 is 20. So we are going to ascend in ascending order, which means from the lowest to the highest. So what's the smallest number? Obviously 6, which is 110 in base 2. Alright, 110 in base 2. What's the next? The next number is this, which is 22 in base 5, and then followed by 1 in base 8. Option B is the correct answer. Welcome to question 20 of this Waec. And it says a notebook of 15 centimeters measured by 7.8. Calculate the correct percentage error. Now, what's the formula for percentage error? The formula for percentage error is equal to error, right, minus the actual measurement or best measurement, anyone you want, all over the actual measurement times 100. Right? So what was the error? The error was 6.8. All right, minus the actual measurement was 15 over the actual measurement. So the 16.8 minus 15 is equal to 1.8 over 15 is 100. All right. So this is equal All right, so we're moving to diagram. We're going to find the value of m right here. Right. We notice we have two parallels moving by this side. We know they're parallel. So the first thing that I want to do is I can actually extend line something like this. Okay, I can extend it, and this this line I can also extend here. This parallel at the point. So I'm only extending my okay. So if this angle is 90 degrees, what that simply means is if this angle is this other side is 90 degrees, and also since we have this transversal line cutting across two parallel lines, it means that this angle will be equal to this angle here. Yes, because alternate angle are equal. This means that this inner angle is 40 degrees. So let's go here. So I know by some of angles of triangle that we have this angle x plus 90 degrees all equal to 180 degrees. Alright. So x plus 180 equals 180 degrees. Alright. So if x is equal to that's 130 means x is 50 degrees. Alright. I have here that x has 50 degrees. From angle in a straight line, I know that m plus 50 degrees should be equal to 180 degrees. So m will be 180 minus 50 degrees is equal to 180 degrees. Is option B. Hi guys, welcome to question number 22. And it says a line L passing through the point 6, 13 is parallel to the line which passes through 7, 4 and minus 3, 9. Find the equation of the line L. So we are given this line L as passing through these points, but we are not given the gradient of the line. But we are told that the line is parallel to another line that is passing through these 2 points. So what do we know about two lines parallel to each other? When two lines are parallel, then their gradients are equal. So from this second line, we can find the gradient of this second line, and we know that the gradient of this second line is also equal to the gradient of our line L. All right, so what's the formula for finding the gradient of this line? The gradient, which is usually referred to as m, all right, m is equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Of course, as we know, from here, I can see this is my x1 and this is y1, all right, and this is my x2 and this is y2. So from there, I can pick the values to give me. So y2 will be, that is 9 minus 4 all over x2 is what? Minus 3 minus 7. So that gives me 5 over minus 10, which is the same thing as minus 1 over 2. So I've gotten my gradient to be minus 1 over 2. And since that line is parallel to our line L, that means our line L, the gradient of our line L is also, the gradient M of our line L is also what? Minus 1 over 2. Now I'm told to find the equation of the line that passes through these points, minus 6 and 13. That's the points our line passes through. So how am I going to find the gradient of this line, or the equation rather of this line L? Well, the formula for equation of line is y minus y1 is equals to m into x minus x1. As simple as that. So x1 and y1 are the points it passes. So in this place where I have 6 here, so 6 is my s1 and minus 13 is my y1. So I'm going to impute it into this formula here. So I'm going to be having y minus, what's my y1? Minus 13 is equals to m, which is what? Minus 1 over 2 into x minus 6. All right. So I have that y plus 13 is equal to uh, minus 1 over 2 into x minus 6. So I can decide to multiply both sides by 2 to take care of this fraction. So I'm going to be having 2y plus 26 because I'm multiplying everything here by 2 is equal to minus 1 into x minus 6. So 2y plus 26 is equals to minus x minus 6. All right. So I'm going to then move this minus 20, this 26. I'm going to move it over to this other side because in the equation of a line, we usually start with y standing at the subject of formula. So when I do that, I'm going to have 2y is equals to minus x minus 6 minus 26. All right. So that means I have, let me continue. I'm going to continue here. So it means I have 2y is equals to minus x minus 32. All right. But I want my y to stand alone. So I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So it means that y is equals to minus 1 over 2x minus 16. So I have seen where I made a little error. So when I was opening these brackets here, so minus 1 times x is minus x, and then minus 1 times 6 was supposed to be plus 6. All right. So sorry about that. So this is supposed to be plus 6. All right. So it means that here, what I was supposed to have here, plus 6 minus 26 was supposed to give me minus 20. All right. So that's where I made a little error. So it's supposed to be 20. So when you divide both sides by 2 here, this is going to become minus 10. So minus 1 over 2x minus 10 is equals to y. That's the equation of the line. All right, guys, let's look at question number 23. It says that an empty cylindrical tank is 140 centimeters in diameter. Now, if 200 liters of water is poured into the tank, calculate correct to the nearest centimeter the height of water in the tank. So we are told that we have a cylindrical tank, okay, something like this. And we are also told that the height of, they were told that there is 200 liters of water in the tank. Let's say from here to here is 200 liters. We are also told that the diameter of this tank is 140 cm. And we are told to find the height of this tank. So what's the formula for volume of a cylinder? The formula for volume V of a cylinder is equals to pi r square h. All right, pi r square h. So from the question, we are given our pi. We are also given the radius, diameter actually. So we are going to divide that diameter by 2 to get the radius. And we are looking for height. And we are given our volume. Although our volume was given in liters, we are going to have to convert it to centimeter cube because our diameter is in centimeters and the answers are in centimeters. So first of all, let's convert this volume. So if I have volume 200 liters, 1 liter, 1 liter of water actually, 1 liter of water actually gives 1 liter is actually equals to 1000 centimeter cube. So it means that 200 liters will be equals to 200 times 1000 centimeter cube, which is 200,000 centimeter cube. So my volume is equals to 200,000 centimeter cube is equals to pi is 22 over 7 times what's my radius? I'm giving the diameter as 140. So my radius will simply be 140 over 2. That is diameter divided by 2, which is 70. So I'm going to times it by 70 times the height, which is what I'm looking for. So it's as simple as that. So can actually cancel this 7 here to one of these 70 and you're left with 10. So you have 200,000 is equals to 22 times 10 times 70 times height. So it therefore means I can simply punch in my calculator. 200,000 is equals to, when you punch 22 times 10 times 70 in your calculator, you are going to have 15,400 height. So all I need to do now is to divide both sides by 15,400. All right. So when I divide both sides by 15,400, I am left with 12.9 as my answer, 12.9 centimeters, which if I'm to calculate correct to the nearest centimeter, 2.9 centimeters is closest to 13 centimeters. So that gives you the answer C. All right, guys, welcome to question number 24. It says Mrs. Kebe stands at a distance of 110 meters away from a building of vertical height 58 meters. Okay, so let's assume this is Mrs. Kebe here. This is Mrs. Kebe standing this way. All right, that she stands at a distance. So there's a distance of 110 meters between her and a building, and the height of that building is 58 meters. All right, so that's 58 meters. But then we are told that she is 2 meters tall. So if she's 2 meters tall, this is her height, 2 meters. Find the angle of elevation of the top of the building from her eye. From her eye. So it means from this her eye point, we are going to find this angle of elevation to the top of the building. All right. So since the distance here, we know it to be 110 meters, it also means that distance here is also 110 meters. And since our height is 2 meters, it means that this part of the triangle that we are going to need, that's from here to here, will be 56. All right, it's going to be 56 meters rather, because from here down is 2 meters. Forgive my drawing. So we are told to find this angle here, the angle of elevation. So if you look at this, it's a Pythagorean question. We are going to have to use our SOHCAHTOA. So what are the knowns and what are the unknowns? So we are looking for this angle, theta, right? What parameters do we have? We have what is opposite our theta. We have opposite here. Then we also have the adjacent. So what connects that? It is tan. So tan connects opposites. So you have that tan theta is equals to opposites over adjacent. So in this case, tan theta is equals to, the opposite is 56 all over the adjacent of 110. So dividing that with a calculator, it means tan theta is equals to 56 divided by 110 gives you 0.5091. All right. So how do you find the angle theta? So theta will be tan inverse of 0.5091. So when you punch this in your calculator, it gives you a value of 26.98, which is approximately equal to 27. So option B is your answer. Welcome to question 25 of this Waec past questions objective. It says find the mean deviation of this set of numbers. So we are given some set of numbers and we are told to find the mean deviation. So first of all, we need to find the mean and then we can calculate how much each of them have deviated from the mean. All right. So what's the mean of these numbers? We are going to add up all these numbers. We are going to add up 14 plus 15 plus 16 plus 17 plus 18 plus 19 and divide it by 6 because there are 6 numbers here. So if you add up all these numbers, you're going to have 99 over 6. And what is 99 over 6? That's 16.5. So now we have the mean as 16.5. So I'm going to draw a table for each of these numbers. I'm going to label these numbers as x, all right? And then the deviation is going to be absolute value of x minus x bar, or x minus x bar in this case refers to the mean. So I'm going to be compiling this table of values, all right? So for each of these numbers, I'm going to find my x minus x bar. So I have 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. So for 14, x minus x bar means 14 minus the mean. All right. So 14 minus the mean is actually minus 2.5. But I need the absolute values. That is, forget about the minus. Just tell me the value. That's 2.5. All right. 15 is minus 16.5 is 1.5. 16 minus 16.5 is 0.5. Also the same thing with 17 is 0.5. 18 is 1.5 and 19 is 2.5. So these are the deviations of these numbers from the mean. So how do I get my mean deviation? Your mean deviation simply means you are now going to add up all these deviations and divide it by the number of deviations. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 deviations. So I'm going to add up all these deviations. That's 2.5 plus 1.5 plus 0.5 plus 0.5 plus 1.5 plus 2.5 all over 6. All right. And that's how to get mean deviation. So when you add up all these numbers, you're going to have 9 over 6, which is equal to 1.5, option B. So that is how to solve your mean deviation, guys. The first step is to calculate the mean, all right? Get the mean. When you get the mean, start subtracting each of these items, each of the numbers from the mean. Take the absolute value, that is the positive value. Even if it's supposed to be negative, take it as positive. So when you have all those positive values, add them up again and divide it by the total number of values, which is 6 in this case, and you get your mean deviation. Mean deviation means the average of all the deviations from the mean. Welcome to question number 26 of this Waec past questions. It says that the interior angle of a regular polygon is 6 times the exterior angle. So find the number of sides of the polygon. Now, what's the formula for interior angle of a polygon? The formula is n minus 2 times 180, right? Now, it's equals to 6 times the exterior angle, and the formula for exterior angle is 360 over n, number of sides, okay? So we should be able to solve. We are told to find the number of sides of the polygon. So let's solve this now. Now, bear in mind that what I have here is the formula for interior angle of a polygon. So this formula is going to tell me the total interior angle of the polygon, but I actually need the interior angle of just one side. All right. So this formula is the total interior angle, but I only need the interior angle of just one side, because here tells us that the interior angle of a regular polygon is 6 times the exterior angle. So I'm going to divide this formula by n so that I will be able to know the value of each interior angle. All right. So this becomes the general formula I'm going to work with. All right. So if I look at these two terms, I can actually just decide to cancel out the n at the bottom, such that I have n minus 2 times 180 is equals to 6 times 360. All right. So if you look at this, you see that 180 can be cancelled here to give you 1. 360 can give you 2. So I'm going to have n minus 2 equals to 6 times 2. So n minus 2 is equals to 12. And if I make n the subject of formula, n will be equals to 12 plus 2, which is 14 sides. The answer is B. Hi guys, welcome to question number 27. It says that the length of the diagonal of a square is 12 centimeters. Calculate the area of the square. All right, so we know a square has equal sides. So let's assume that this is my square. All right, the length of the diagonal is 12 centimeters. So from here to here is 12 centimeters. And I'm told to calculate the area. We know that each of these sides will be length and length. So if you look at what I have something that is a Pythagoras triangle, a right angle triangle, which I will use Pythagoras theorem for. So here is 12, here is L, and here is L. So according to Pythagoras, the hypotenuse squared, which is 12 squared, will be equal to the sum of the square of the two sides. All right. So I have the hypotenuse here equals to the square of the hypotenuse is equals to the square of the length plus the square of the length. That's what I have here. So that means I have 12 square, which is 144, is equals to 2L square. All right. So if I divide both sides by 2, I'm going to have that 144 divided by 2 is 72, is equals to 2, we cancel 2, and I'm left with L square. So what is L square? L square is the formula for area of the square, which is what I'm told to find. We know that when we're solving area of the square, the formula is length times length, which is length square. So from what I have here, length square, which is the area, is going to be equal to 72. So that's my final answer. Hi guys, welcome to question number 28 of these past questions. It says, consider the statements P saying Sia is from Foya and the Q statement says Foya is in Lofa. Now, write in symbolic form the statement if Sia is from Foya, then Foya is in Lofa. Now, what we want to take big note of is these two words, if and then. So this is an if-then statement. So how do you write an if-then statement? Now, this is the sign for an if-then statement. So this other one that you see here, that it has double sides, is for an if and only if statement. All right. So it means that B cannot be our answer and even D cannot be our answer because the sign that you see in the middle is for an if and if only statement. So let's finish it up. What's going to be on either side of this statement? Look at the first part. The first part says if Sia is from Foya. If you look at it in your question, that's this, and that corresponds to P. So it means on this side, I'm going to have P, right? And then Foya is in Lofa is the second side. That will be Q. So if you look at that, you see that that tallies with option C. Hi guys, welcome to question number 29. It says, what is the name of a triangle with vertices 1, 3, 6, 2, and 0, 4? So what kind of triangle is this? They are giving the vertices, all right? How do you solve it? Well, we look at the options. You have isosceles triangle, you have equilateral triangle, right angle triangle, and all of that. Now, what are some common properties we know? We know that in an isosceles triangle, two sides are equal. In the equilateral triangle, the three sides are equal. The right angle triangle has an angle at 90 degrees, and in the scaling triangle, all the sides are different. So what we are going to do is this. We are simply going to find the distance between each of these 2 points, each of these 3 points. We are going to find the distance. First of all, I'll draw my triangle so that it is clear, and I can put any of these points anywhere I want. So I'll call this point A, I'll call this point B, and I'll call this point C. So let's say point A is the first one with 1 and -3. Point B is the second one with 6 and 2. And point C is the third one with 0 and 4. It doesn't matter how you arrange it, you are going to get the same thing. Now, the trick is, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to calculate the distance between A and C. I'm going to calculate the distance between C and B. And I'll also calculate the distance between B and A. Now, what is my goal? My goal is to see if the distances, there will be any relationship between them. If at the end of the day, maybe two sides are equal distance, it means, or equal length, it means it's an isosceles triangle. But if the distance between all of them are equal, it will be an equilateral triangle. Or if all of them are different, it will be a scaling triangle. All right. So let's solve. But what is the formula to help you know the distance between these 2 points? Well, if you are going to solve for the distance between these 2 points, you are going to have something like this: square root of x2 minus x1 all squared plus y2 minus y1 all squared. All right. And you need the absolute values actually. But let's move forward. So I'm going to start from any 2 points. Let's say I start from point AC. I want to take care of these first 2 points, the distance between the two of them. So I'm just anywhere I see in this point A, this is going to be my x1. All right. This is going to be my x1 and y1. This is my x1. This is other one is my y1. And then in point C, this will now be my x2, and the other that will be my y2. All right. So this gives me, for this point AC, what I'm going to have is equals to square root of uh, that will be 1 minus 0 all squared. All right, that is meaning of x2 minus x1 squared plus minus 3 minus 4 all squared. All right, so what do I have when I solve this? This is equal to square root of, what is 1 minus 0? That's 1. What is 1 squared? 1 squared is 1. Plus, what is minus 3 minus 4? That's minus 7. So what is minus 7 squared? That's minus 7 times minus 7. That's 49. All right. So I have 1 plus 49, which is equal to root 50. So I'm going to leave that as the distance from A to C. Now let's move to the distance from C to B. All right, using this same formula, I'll proceed. So let's move forward. I'm going to have x1 minus y1. So in this case, x1 is this b, this is x1, this is y1, then this is x2, y2. It's as simple as that. All right. So let's move. I'm going to have 0 minus 6 all squared plus, what's the other one? 4 minus 2 all squared. All right. Now that is equals to, what is 0 minus 6? Is minus 6. And what is minus 6 squared? Is 36. So I have 36 plus, what's 4 minus 2? Is 2. All right. And 2 squared is 4. So I have root 36 plus 4, which is equal to root 40. All right. All right. So now let's continue. We will now move to BA. All right. So we're now going to get the distance BA. Okay. So let's look at our BA properly. So in this case, we're moving from B to A. So this first value will be my x1. This next value will be my y1. And then A, this will be my x2 and y2. All right. So that's going to give me, I'm going to have square root of 6. All right. 6 minus 1 all squared plus 2 minus 3 all squared. All right. All right. So let's move. So what is 6 minus 1 squared? That is 5 squared. What is 5 squared? Is 25. Plus, what is 2 minus minus 3? Minus and minus we multiply to give you plus. That is 2 plus 3. What's 2 plus 3? 5. So what is 5 squared? 25. So I have root 25 plus root 25, which is root 50. So I've been able to see the distance between each and every one of these points. Okay, I've been able to see the distance. So you can see that from B to A, the distance is root 50. From A to C, the distance was also root 50. And from C to B, the distance was root 40. So what does it tell us? That two sides are equal. And when two sides are equal in the triangle, it means it's an isosceles triangle. So that is how to solve it. You need to learn this formula. When you know this formula, you are going to have no problem finding the distance or the length of each side of a triangle. All right, guys, let's look at question number 30. All right, question number 30. We are given a figure not drawn to scale, but we are told that in the diagram, NR is a diameter. That is this line, NR. It's a diameter. And then at angle MNR is equals to X. This angle here is equals to X. All right. And SRN, this angle outside, is equals to 5x plus 20. Find the value of 2x. So obviously we may need to find x first, and then we multiply it by 2, we get our 2x. So how do you go about solving? Well, let's look at this. We have this diameter, a line that cuts the circle into 2 equal halves. We have it subtending this angle here. All right. So there is a theorem that tells us that the angle that is subtended at the center, at the circumference by diameter, is always at 90 degrees. So this angle, as far as it came from this diameter subtended a line. You can see the lines it brought to, and it touched the circumference. It will always touch the circumference at 90 degrees. So this place is 90 degrees. All right. So what that tells us is that here is 90 degrees and here is x. Now, we also know that the exterior angle of a triangle, now this is the exterior angle. You can see this angle here is an exterior angle. The exterior angle of a triangle is also equal to the two opposite interior angles. So what that means is that this angle I have here, this angle here, this 5x plus 20, is equal to these two opposite angles, this angle and this angle. So if I'm to write that mathematically, what I'm going to have is that 5x plus 20 is equals to 90 plus x. Now, there is another way some of you would have thought of going about it. If it's how you understand it, you'll get the same value, okay? Now, some of you can use sum of angles in a triangle is equal to 180 degrees. You can use it to get what you have here, okay? But it's a bit confusing, or it's a bit longer. if you know that the exterior angle of a triangle is always equal to the two opposite interior angles, then you don't really have a problem. So that's the theorem I'm using here. That exterior angle is equal to the opposite interior angles. So these two angles are equals to each other. So all I need to do is to solve for my x. So if I take like terms, I'm going to have that 5x minus x is equals to 90 minus 20. 5x minus x is 4s is equals to 70. So if I divide both sides by 4, I'm going to have that x is equals to 17.5 degrees. But I'm told to find 2x. So if I multiply this by 2, that 2x will be equals to 35 degrees. As simple as that. All right, guys, so let's look at question number 31 of this Waec past question. It says, find the value of alpha in this equation. Cos alpha plus 14 is equals to sine 4 alpha plus 6. Okay. Now, generally speaking, we know that sine alpha, all right, sine alpha is equals to cos 90 degrees minus alpha, right? 90 degrees minus alpha. All right, which means the two of them are always adding up to 90 degrees. So if one is 30, the other will be 90 minus 30. That's the general rule between sine and cos. So knowing this fully well, I can impute this into this equation. All right, so instead of cos, whatever is there, I can change it to sine 90 minus whatever was there. So you see this particular cos alpha plus 14, I am going to change it to sine 90 minus alpha plus 14, right? So it's still the same thing. Cos theta or cos alpha is the same thing as sine 90 minus alpha. So that's how I got that. Then it's equal to sine 4 alpha plus 6 degrees. All right. So now I have my question. They are now both in sine. So since they are both sine, that means I can easily cancel out the sine here. All right. And then let's proceed. 90 minus alpha plus 14 is equals to 4 alpha plus 6. So I can expand these brackets and I have 90 minus alpha minus 14 is equals to 4 alpha plus 6. All right. So if I collect like terms, I'm going to let me push the alpha to the other way. I'm going to have 90 minus 14 minus 6. I brought this 6 now. I brought it over to the other side. So 90 minus 14 minus 6 is equals to 4 alpha. When I move this minus alpha to the other side, it becomes plus alpha. So 90 minus 14 minus 6, that is 70, is equals to 4 alpha plus alpha is 5 alpha. So when I divide both sides by 5, I'm going to get that alpha is equals to 14. All right. So that's my final answer. All right. So let's look at question number 32. It says a bag contains 4 white marbles and 3 blue marbles. All right. Another bag contains 5 red and 6 blue marbles. If a marble is picked at random from each bag, find the probability that they have the same color. Okay, so I have 2 bags. All right. I have bag 1 and I also have bag 2. All right. So this is bag 1, this is bag 2. All right. Now, in the first bag, what do I have? I have 4 white marbles and 3 blue marbles. So I have a total of 7 marbles, right, in this bag. Then in the second bag, I have 5 red marbles and 6 blue marbles, which is a total of 11 marbles, right? Now, if a marble is picked at random from each bag, that means if I pick a marble from bag 1 and I also pick from bag 2, like I pick one from here, I pick one from here, find the probability that they have the same color. That is the same color. So what first of all is my option of the same color? You can see the only way I can get the same color is if I pick blue marble in the first bag and a blue marble in the second bag, because blue is the only color that appears in the 2 bags. We have white in the first bag, but it's not in the second bag. We have red in the second bag, but it's not in the first bag. So blue is the only color that I can pick that will satisfy this probability. So I need to find the probability of picking blue in the first bag and picking blue in the second bag. So what's the probability of picking blue in my first bag? The probability of picking blue in my first bag is going to be What's the number of blue marbles? Is 3 out of a total of 7. So the probability will be 3 over 7. And in the second bag, since it's and, I'm going to multiply. So when you hear and, that is two events like that, you are going to multiply them. All right. So bag 2, what's the probability of picking a blue marble here? How many marbles do I have that are blue? There are 6 out of 11. So that will be what? 6 over 11. So 3 times 6 is equals to 18, all over 7 times 11 is 77. Looking at the options, that is option B. All right, so let's look at question number 33. It says that the angle of a sector of a circle of radius 3.4 centimeters is 115 degrees. Find the area of the sector. This is very easy and should not take you more than 30 seconds if you remember the formula for area of a sector. So the formula for area of a sector, A is equals to theta all over 360 degrees times pi r squared. If you look at the question, we are given our theta, we have theta, we also have our pi, we have our radius squared. All right. So proceeding further, I have that my area equals to 115, which is the angle, all over 360 times pi is 22 over 7 times the radius is 3.4 times 3.4. That's r squared. So I just need to punch this in my calculator and I'll get an answer. So let's solve the numerator first. So for the numerator, I have 115 times 22 times 3.4 times 3.4. That gives me, hold on, times 3.4 times 3.4. That gives me 29246.8. All right. All over the bottom 360 times 7 is 2520. So when you divide this in your calculator further, you are going to get 11.605, which we can see is option B, 11.6 centimeters squared. Let's look at question number 34. It says that the diagonals of a rhombus are 16 centimeters and 12 centimeters. Find the length of the side. So we have a rhombus like something like this. And we are told that the diagonals, all right, that's basically, let's say from this point here to here is 16, and here to here is also another diagonal. So if the full length was 16 for this, that means this particular place here will be 8, all right. Here will be 8, and here will be 8. And then for the other one that is a total of 12 from here to here, I'll have 6 here and also 6 in this other half. I'm told to find the length of the side, all right? The length of the side, so it can be this side, length. So if I bring this shape out, you see I have a right angle triangle because obviously these two diagonals, they meet at right angles, all right? So I have a right angle triangle here with this side 8, this way is 6, and I'm looking for the length, all right? So I'm going to apply Pythagoras theorem. So by Pythagoras theorem, I know that length squared is equals to 8 squared plus 6 squared. So the length squared is equals to 8 squared is 64 plus 6 squared is 36, which is equals to 100. If you add 64 and 36, you get 100. So taking the square roots of both sides, square root of length squared is equal to square root of 100. So that means length is equals to 10 centimeters. That is the length of the side of the rhombus. Question number 35 says, the angle of elevation of the top of a vertical building from a point Z on the ground is 50 degrees. So let's draw that. The angle of elevation of a top of a vertical building, this, let's say, so I have the vertical building from a point Z on the ground. This is the point Z on the ground. The angle of elevation from this point to the top of the building, this is the top of the building, all right? The angle of elevation to this point is 50 degrees, all right? So I have an angle of elevation 50 degrees, all right? This is the top of the building. Now, if the height of the building is 124 meters, so this is the building, the height is 124 meters, find the distance from Z to the foot of the building. So let's label this distance X. We are looking for the distance from Z to the foot of the building. All right. So looking at this equation, we see that it is something we are going to use our SOHCAHTOA for. All right. So we are looking for the adjacent and we have the opposites. All right. So I can easily use my tan. So I know that tan theta, all right, is equals to opposites divided by adjacent. All right. So I have my theta in the question. I have the opposite, which is 124. What is opposite the angle? And then I have my adjacent, which is x. That's what I'm looking for. So let's go. I'm going to have tan 50 is equal to opposite, that's 124 over x. So if I make x out of the formula, I'm going to take x this way, all right, and bring tan 50 downwards. I'm going to have that x is equals to 124 over tan 50, all right? Now, tan 50, x equals to 124 over tan 50 is 1.192. All right. So when you divide this in your calculator, 124 divided by 192 is going to be equal to 104.048 centimeters, which is approximately 104.05 meters, rather, not centimeters. Thank you. Welcome to question 36. It says that a student measured the height of a pole as 5.98 meters, which is less than the actual height. Less than the actual height. So the actual height is bigger than the error he made. Now, if the percentage error is 5%, find, correct to 2 decimal places, the actual height of the pole. So we are given the error he made as 5.98 meters. And the error of that measurement was 5%. So that 5.98 meters the student measured is 5% less than the actual height. So what is 5% of 5.98? If we can get it in meters, we can simply add it back. When we add that 5% back to this 5.98, we will now know what the actual height is supposed to be. So sometimes you need to take time to understand the question, know what you want to solve before you start solving. So let's find out what 5% of 5.98 actually is. 5% is something as 5 over 100, right, times 5.98. All right. So when you solve this, you're going to get 0.299 meters. So this percentage error of 5%, another word for percentage error of 5% means he made an error of 0.299 meters. All right. So how do I get the actual height? Since I was told that what he measured was less than the actual height, all I need to do is to add this to what he measured so that I can get the correct height. So when I add that error here plus what he measured, I'm going to get the correct height, which is 6.289. But we are told to write our answer to 2 decimal places. So I only need 2 digits. All right. So I look at the third digit. Is it up to 5? Yes. Since it's up to 5, I'm going to approximate it to 6.29 meters, which is option C. All right, let's look at question number 37. It says that in the diagram, O is the center of the circle, QRS, and the angle SQRO is 28 degrees. And we are told to find angle ORS. ORS. Now, let's look at this. If this is the center of the circle O, we know that any line drawn from the center of the circle to meet the circumference known as radius. So this line here is the radius. Also, this line in this direction is also the radius because it is drawn from the center to the circumference. So it means that these two lines, if these two lines are equal, that means their base angles are also equal. All right. So whatever I'm going to get here is equal to what I get here. All right. Now, if we also look at this angle, we'll notice that we are given the angle that is subtended at the circumference. Now, if you notice this particular chord, S arrow, all right, this chord is subtending or holding an angle, forming an angle at the center of the circle. It's also at the same time forming an angle at the circumference at the same time. And one law of second theorem tells us that the angle that is subtended by a chord at the center, this angle here, let's call it E. this angle here will always be twice the angle at the circumference. All right. So I draw another random example to make it clear. So if you have a chord, all right, and it subtends an angle at the center, all right, let's call it, let's say it's 8 degrees. If that same chord also subtends or holds another angle at any point in the circumference, angle here will be half 4. That's the meaning. So the angle at the center is always going to be twice the angle at the circumference. So we are given the angle at the circumference at 28 degrees. So it means angle P at the center was twice of it times 8, which is 56 degrees. All right. So now we have this angle here at 56 degrees. This angle is 56 degrees. Now I'm told to find this particular angle, which is also equal to this angle. Let's call it angle X. All right. So that means here is also X. Now we know that sum of angles in a triangle is 180. So it means if I add all these angles, 56 degrees, one subtended here, plus X, because they are both the same angle, it means 180 degrees. So I'm going to have that 2x plus 56 equals to 180 degrees. When I collect like terms, 2x left, I will have equals to 180 minus 56 degrees. All right. So 2x equals 180 minus 56 degrees. That gives me 154 degrees. So when I divide by 2, my x is going to be 60 degrees. And that's your answer. Now let's look at question 38. It says that John was facing south 35 degrees east. Now if he turned 90 degrees in the anti-clockwise direction, find his new direction. So let me first draw this compass, so to say. Now we know this is north, this is south, this is east, and this is west. Where was his starting point? South 35 degrees east. That means starting from the southern line, we are going to move 35 degrees towards the east. So I have something like this. South, he has moved 35 degrees. Here is 35 degrees towards the east. And we also know that angles in each of these quadrants is 90 degrees. Each of these quadrants, everything here, they're all 90 degrees. So from the south to the east is an exact 90 degrees, right? Now, the question tells us that if he turns 90 degrees in the anti-clockwise direction. Now, what is clockwise? Clockwise is the way the hand of the clock moves, and it's in this direction. But anti-clockwise is the opposite, so going backwards. So from this point where he is, from this very point where John is right now, he moved this direction, all right? And he moved 90 degrees. So all we need to do is to count 90 degrees in this direction, and we will know where he is now. Now, remember, like I said, we have a total of 90 degrees here. So if he has already collected 35 degrees, he's already 35 degrees away here, what's remaining to get to the east is to just do 90 minus 35 degrees. That gives you 55 degrees. So I know that what's remaining here for him is 55 degrees out of the 90 degrees that we are told he moved. So if he has moved 55 degrees out of the 90 degrees, he still has an additional 35 degrees he can move because he moved a total of 90. So 55 plus 5 degrees, 90 degrees. Question said he moved. So he will move another 35 degrees from this eastern starting point, move 35 degrees towards the north. So I have something like this at 35 degrees. So this is his new position, all right? But how do I write it? I can't say it's 35 degrees north. No, we read it from the north to the east. So it's going to be north, whatever is remaining here. So get to the same line it is, all right? Whatever is here, north, whatever is. So out of 90 in total, he has moved 35 already. What's remaining here? 5 degrees. So the answer is north 55 degrees. That's his new position. Option A. All right, so we have a question that says if 2x minus y is 9 is equals to minus 11 and 3x plus y is 3, evaluate y minus x squared. So obviously, we have two equations. We are going to solve them simultaneously. When we solve, we get our x and we get our y. Then we can easily use it to get the final answer here. All right, so let me write the equation. 2x minus 3y minus 11 and then 3x 2y equals to 8. So I'm going to use elimination method. All right, I'm going to eliminate one of these variables. How do I do that? Now this is equation 1. and this. So the first thing I want to do is pick which variable I want to eliminate. I always try and pick the one that's easier. Although in this case they are both similar, because in the x variable you have coefficient of 2 and coefficient of 3. The similar in your y variable, you still have coefficient of 2 and coefficient of 3. So you can choose any one to eliminate. Let me choose to eliminate the x. So if I'm going to eliminate my x, what am I going to do? In elimination method, the goal is to tweak or multiply both equations in such a way that the coefficient of the term you want to eliminate will now be the same. In other words, I'm trying to get a situation whereby the coefficient of x in equation 1 and 2 will be the same, so I can subtract them or eliminate them. So how can I make them the same? If I multiply equation 1 by 3, somehow, it's going to make my 2x turn to 6x. And if I multiply equation 2 by 2, it will also make my 3x to turn to 6x. So that is what I want, and I'm going to do that. So let's multiply equation 1 by 3. Everything here is going to multiply by 3. So x times 3 will be 6x minus 3y times 3 is 9y is equals to minus 11 times 3. So I've multiplied equation 1 by 3. Let's look at equation 2. I'm going to multiply it by 2. So 2 times 3x is 6x plus 2 times 2y is 4y equals to 3 times 2 is 6. All right. So now these equations, I'm going to label them equation 3. Now equation 3 and 4 are still equivalent to equation 1 and 2. I've only just played with them so that the x components can be the same and I can eliminate. So how do I eliminate? You simply subtract equation 4 from equation 3. Just minus them. All right. If I minus them, 6x minus 6x is cancelled out because that's what I want. It's going to give me 0. Then minus 9y minus plus 4y. That is minus 9y minus 4y gives me minus 15y equals to minus 33 minus 6 gives me minus 39. So now I can divide both sides by minus 13, right? Minus 13. And I'm going to have that y is equal to minus 13 over minus 39 over minus 13. The minus is just going to cancel each other. 39 divided by 13. So I have my y as 3. The next step now is to substitute y as 3 in any of the equations. Equation 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, but it's easier to pick from equation 1 and 2. All right, so let's pick equation 2 that says 3x plus 2y is equals to 3. So I'm going to put my y in place of, I'm going to put 3 in place of y. So I'm going to have 3x plus 2 times 3 is equals to 3, which is 3x plus 6 equals to 3. So it means that 3x is equals to 3 minus 6 when I collect like terms, which is 3x is equals to 3 minus 6 minus 3. So if I divide both sides by 3, that means my x equals what? Minus 1. So now I have my x as minus 1. I have my y as 3. The question tells me to solve for y minus x all squared. So what is my y? Is 3. I'm going to have 3 minus, what is x? Minus 1 all squared. All right. So what is 3 minus minus 1? Minus and minus is plus. So I'm going to have 3 plus 1 all squared. 3 plus 1 is 4. So 4 squared is what? And that's the answer. Hi guys, let's look at question number 40. It says an equilateral triangle has side of meters. Calculate the height of the triangle. Now, one of the obvious properties of an equilateral triangle is that all sides are equal. So I have a triangle like this. Each side is 2 meters. And I'm told to calculate the height. Another thing we'll know about an equilateral triangle is that all the angles are equal. And since the total angle in a triangle is 180, share that into 3 places. You are going to have each of the side here is 60 degrees. This side is also 60, and this way is also 60 because they are all equal. All right, and this point is a right angle triangle. All right, so we are told to find the height. So if I bring out what I have in this question, bring out this triangle, you see I have an angle here 60 degrees. I'm looking for this height, and I'm giving the hypotenuse as 2 centimeter. All right. So I can simply use SOHCAHTOA, and we have the angle. We are looking for the opposite, and we have the hypotenuse. So what connects opposite and hypotenuse? So says opposite over hypotenuse. So S is what? Sine. So sine 60 equals to opposite, which is H we are looking for, over the hypotenuse. All right. So by special angles, we know that sine 60 is the same thing as root 3 over 2. All right. So root 3 over 2 is equal to H. So since the denominators are the same, I can cancel out the denominators. It means that H is equal to root 3. Option A is your answer. Hi guys, let's look at question number 41. It says a number is selected at random from number 40, all right, to 50 inclusive. Find the probability that the number is prime. All right. So first of all, what is our sample space? What are the numbers from 40 to 50 inclusive? That means we are going to add 40 and also 50 when we're writing the numbers. So let's write numbers from 40 to 50. I have 40, I have 40, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50. Now, a number was selected. What is the probability that is a prime number? What is a prime number? A prime number is a number that can only be divided by 1 and itself. It doesn't have any other factor. Only 1 can go into it plus itself. If any other number can go into it, then it's a prime number. So let's look at the options here. 40. Is it a prime number? No. Because apart from 1 and 40, 2 can go into 40. 4 can go into it. 5 can go into it. 8 can go into it. 10 can go. 20 can go. It's not a prime number. It's not what we need. Let's look at 41. Is there any number that can divide 41 apart from 2 and apart from 1 rather and 41? No. So 41 is a prime number we need. What about 42? Is it a prime number? The answer is no. Because apart from 1 and 42, other numbers like 2, 21, 6, 7 can divide it. So it's not a prime number. All right. What about 43? 43 is a prime number because apart from 1 and 43, nothing else can divide it. What about 44? It's not a prime number because apart from 1 and 44, other numbers can divide it. Same with 45, it's not prime. 6 is not prime. 47 is a prime number. No other number can divide it apart from 1 and 47. 48 is not a prime number, and it's not. 50 is not. They all have numbers that can divide them apart from themselves and 1. So the only numbers I have are 41, 43, and 47. Those are the only numbers that can be prime. So what is going to be the probability? First of all, how many numbers are the equation? 1, 2, that is 3 over the total numbers. So how many numbers do I have here? If you count from 40 to 50, you have 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 numbers. The probability is 3 over 11. Hi guys, welcome to question number 42. We are going to be using this bar chart you can see to solve question number 42 to 44. So I'd like you to pay attention as we solve. We are given a bar chart which represents the marks that students scored. All right. So at the bottom we see the marks 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then at the left hand side, the y-axis, we see frequency. That is how many students scored total marks. So for example, if you look at 1 mark, how many students scored 1 mark? If you trace this, it's somewhere around 3 students. All right. So how many students scored 2 marks? If you trace it, 6. All right. How many students scored 3 marks? If you end in 9. All right. How many students scored 4 marks? If you trace it, just 1 student. So you see that table. The first step we are going to do to make it easier for us to see this data is we are going to draw the frequency table. We are going to draw it in table format so that it's easier for us to understand. So I'm going to draw a table that says max, all right, to be the max, and then frequency, right? So what are the max? from the bottom here, we can see them. I'm going to start with 1, all right, then 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So how many students scored 1 mark from what I solved earlier? You can see it's 3 students who scored 1 mark, all right? So I'm going to fill up this table. How many students scored 2 marks? It's 6 students. How many scored 3 marks? It's 9 students. How many scored 4? 1 student. How many scored 5 marks? You trace it, 12 students. How many scored 6 marks? If you trace that 6th line, it stops in 7. The 7 students. How many scored 7 marks? If you also trace it, 5 at the middle. And how many scored 8 marks? If you trace it, it's 10. So all I've done is to represent this graph, this bar chart rather, into a table so that it's easier for us to solve. All right. Now let's look at the question. The question now says, if question number 42, if the failed mark was 4, what's the probability that a student selected at random passed? That means failed mark. That means anybody that scored 4 and below, they failed. So what's the probability that a student passed? For you to pass, it means you scored 5 and above. All right, because the failure mark is from 4 and below. So how many students scored 5 and above? That's what we need to know. So from that table, we are going to count the students that scored 5 and above. If you notice, we have 12 students that scored 5 plus 7 students that scored 6 plus 5 students that scored 7 plus 10 students. These are the students that passed. So what you need to do is to write 12 plus 7 plus 5 plus 10. All right. These are the students that passed all over the total number of students, which means when you add all these frequency, the total number of students, you get 3 plus 6 plus 9 plus 1, the total number. So when you add that total number of students, you are going to get 53 students, right? You're going to have 53 students, all right? So summing up these numbers at the top, you are going to have 4 over 53. So 34 students passed out of 53 students. So what is the probability? When you press that in your calculator, what is 34 over 53? Since the answers are decimal places, once that your calculator gives you 0.415, which is option A, 0.64. All right. So let's solve question number 43 next. So let's look at question number 43. It says, what percentage of the students scored at most 5 marks? So now we are going to work in percentage. But first of all, how many students scored at most 5 marks? What's the meaning of at most? At most means the highest was 5 marks. So we are going to look at those that scored 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're not going to pass 5. That's the meaning of at most 5 marks. So how many students scored 1 mark plus how many students scored 2 marks plus how many scored 3 plus how many scored 4 plus how many scored 5 all over the total. That's how we are going to get the answer. So how many students, looking at our graph that we have over here, how many students scored 1? We have 3 plus 6 students that scored 2 plus 9 students plus 1 student that scored 4, 12 students. All over the total is our percentage. So I'm going to have 3 plus 6 plus 9 plus 1 plus 12 all over the total number of students. When you add up everything here, the total number of students is 53. All right. So when you add up these numbers, 3 plus 6 plus 9, you're going to have 31 over 53. Since we are told to represent our answer in percentage, times by 100, right? We are going to be having 3,100 divided by 50. And when you punch that in your calculator, that's going to give you 58.5%. So 58.5% of students scored at most 5 marks. All right, so let's look at question number 44. Question number 44 said, how many students scored at least 3 marks? They're just asking us for the number of students. No percentage, no probability. Just tell me the number of students that scored at least 3 marks. At least means the lowest 3 marks. So it means, tell me how many students scored either 3 marks or 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 marks. That's the meaning of at least, meaning lowest 3 marks. All right. So how many students scored 3 marks? Is 9 students that we have here. 9 students. We have 9 students scoring 3 marks plus 1 student that scored 4 plus 12 students that scored 5 plus 7 students that scored 6 plus 5 students that scored 7 and then plus 10 students that scored 8. So I'm going to add all those numbers together. That is 9 students plus 1, 12 plus 7 plus 5. When you add up all these numbers, you're going to get 40. So 44 students scored at least 3 marks. So make sure you understand the question and then you are easily able to solve it without problems. Hi guys, welcome to question number 45, and it says if log to the base a of 3 is equals to m and log to the base a of 5 is equals to p, find log to the base a of 75. So basically what we are going to do is we are going to try and look for how to represent log to the base a of 75 in terms of m and p. All right. Now, if you look at this log to the base a of 75, 75 is the same thing as 25 times 3, right? So it means I can write it as log to the base a of 25 times 3. All right. And we also know that I can further separate 25 times 3 into two separate logarithms of the same base. This will now be equal to log to the base a of 25 plus log to the base a of 3. All right. So log to the base a of 25, if you look at this number 25, 25 is the same thing as 5 squared. So in place of 25, I'm going to be putting 5 squared. So I have log to the base a of 5 raised to the power 2 plus log to the base a of 3. Now, there's something called the power rule, which I'm going to apply here. The power rule states that if you have logarithm, if you have the logarithm of a number, let's say x in base a raised to the power n, you can push this power to the back of the logarithm to become the coefficient of the logarithm. So you have something like n log to the base a of x. So that is the rule I'm going to apply here. So I'm going to push this power of 2, push it to the back to become the coefficient, and I'm going to have 2 log to the base a of 5 plus log to the base a of 3. So now, if you look at, I have log to the base a of 5, which is given to me here as p, and I have log to the base a of 3, which is given here as m. So I'm going to substitute. So this will become 2p plus m. So let's look at question number 46 of this Waec pass question. We are given a figure that is not drawn to scale, and we are given some points M, N, and arrow, which are points on the circle with a center O. We are given the angle O arrow N as 48 degrees, and we are also given this angle as 124 degrees. We are told to find angle OMN. So the one in the center always tells you. So OMN. So here, that's what we are looking for. Let's call it x. All right. So what do I do? If only there was a way to get this angle, I'm going to call this angle y. If there was a way to get this angle y, then I will be able to get angle x by summing everything to be equals to 360 degrees. So how do I get my y? Well, if you look very well, you see an angle that is subtended at the circumference. This angle MN arrow, this angle, this 124 degrees, is subtended at the circumference. So the angle that is subtended at the center by this same chord, the angle that is here will be twice the angle at the circumference. So it means that this angle outside will be 2 times 124, which is 248 degrees. All right. So if I have this external angle as 248 degrees, I know that sum of angles at a point is 360 degrees. So that means 248 degrees plus my y should be 360. So if I collect like terms, I will have y as 360 minus 248, which is 112 degrees. So now I have 3 out of the 4 angles I need, which I know total 360 degrees. So to get my x, all I simply need to do is x plus 124 plus 48 plus this my y, which I've gotten now as 112. Everything must be equal to 360 degrees. So when I add up these numbers, I'm having x plus 284 is equals to 360 degrees. So when I collect like terms, x will be equals to 360 minus 284, which is equals to 76 degrees. So this angle OMN, which is my what I labeled personally as x, is 76 degrees. All right, so let's look at question number 47. It says simplify 3 root 12 plus 10 root 3 minus 6 root 3. So the first thing I want to do, I want all of them to be in terms of root 3. Let's see if that's possible. This root 12 is the same thing, root 12 is the same thing as root 3 times 4, all right? And we know that inside this root 3 times 4, root 4, square root of 4 is equals to 2. So I can write root 12 as this 2 will now come outside, then root 3. All right. So I'm going to write in place of root 12, I'm going to be writing 2 root 3. So this will be 3 into 2 root 3 plus 10 root 3, all right, minus 6 over root 3. Now, since I have the denominator as a root, I'm going to rationalize it by multiplying both the numerator and the denominator by that same root 3. All right. The reason for doing this is I want to cancel out square roots at the denominator. All right. That's what we do when we are rationalizing a surd. All right. So let's take care of this first in brackets. What is 6 times root 3? That's 6 root 3 over what is root 3 times root 3? That's 3. All right. Of which 3 can cancel 6 to get 2, which is 2 root 3. So if I write my general equation again, I'm going to have here 3 times 2 root 3 is 6 root 3 plus my 10 root 3 plus this value I've simplified 2 root 3. So since they are all, or rather minus, not plus, this is minus. So I'm going to cancel it here. This is minus. All right. So since they are all in the same, they all are with root 3, I can then solve them normally. So what is 6 plus 10? That's 16 root 3 minus 2 root 3. So what is 16 minus 2? It's 14 root 3. So your answer is option A. All right, let's look at question 48. The truth set of 8 plus 2x minus x squared equal to 0 is p comma q. Evaluate p plus q. So basically, what they are telling you is that if you know this is a quadratic equation. So if you factorize it, the answers are p and q. So tell me the roots of this equation and then add them together. That's all we are told to do. So this quadratic equation, since the x square is on the negative side, I can solve it this way. But to make it easier, I can move everything to the other side so that my x square will become positive. All right. So if I move minus x square, I'm going to have x square. If I move this plus 2x, I'm going to have minus 2x. And if I move plus 8, I'm going to have minus 8. It's all equals to 0. It's the same thing. I've only moved it to the other side. So now I can solve this quadratic equation. If I take this, I have minus 8x squared. So what I'm going to ask myself is what two numbers can I multiply to give you minus 8x squared? And then I will add it, they will give me minus 2x at the middle. So if you multiply minus 4x and plus 2x, they're going to give you minus 8x squared. And if you add them, you're going to have minus 2x. So I'm going to write out my equation. So x squared minus 4x plus 2x minus 8. So when I factorize this first side, I bring out my x into x minus 4, and then I factorize the next place, this second side. I bring out what is common, which is 2. All right, I bring out 2 into what? X minus 4. So that gives me x plus 2 or x minus 4 is equal to 0. So I have x plus 2 is equal to 0, or x plus, or rather x minus 4 equals to 0. So it means that x is equals to minus 2 or x is equals to 4. So these are my sets of PQ. My set of PQ are minus 2, comma 4. So I'm told to evaluate P plus Q. In other words, add the two of them together. So minus 2 plus 4 is equal to option C. All right, guys, you are welcome to question number 49 that says find the gradient of the line that passes through these 2 points. All right, so the first thing I want to ask is what's the formula for gradient of a line? The gradient m of a line is given as y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. So you just simply need to be able to identify what your y2, y1, what they are from the question. So looking at this question, these first coordinates are my x1 and my y1, and the second set are my x2 and my y2. So with that information, I will be able to solve for the gradients. M is equals to y2 is 2 over 3 minus y1 is minus 1 over 3 all over x2, we have x2 as 3, all right, minus x1, we have x1 as 1 over 2. So this is equal to, now I have 2 over 3, minus times minus is plus 1 over 3, all right, all over 3 minus 1 over 2. 3 minus half is actually 2 and half, 2 over 1 over 2, all right. So if I should solve 2 over 3 plus 1 over 3 is the same thing as 3 over 3 all over 2 and half. I'm going to convert this to an improper fraction. That gives me 5 over 2, all right. 3 over 3 is the same thing as 1, 3 divided by 3. So this gives me 1 over 5 over 2, which is the same thing as 1 times 2 over 5, which is 2 over 5 as your final answer. All right, so welcome to question 50, which is the last question for this 2023 Waec objective question. It says for what values of x is x squared plus 2 all over 10x squared minus 13x minus 3 undefined? Undefined. Now, when you see, when they ask you what will make a fraction to be undefined, a fraction is undefined when the denominator is equal to 0. All right. So if I have, for example, a fraction like 2x minus 5 all over 3x plus 1, if you are told to make this fraction undefined, they are telling you to make this denominator equal to 0 because anything over 0 will be undefined. So in this case, you don't even need to bother yourself about the numerator. All you have considered is the denominator. Just 0 and you get the value of x. So you notice that we get a quadratic equation. So I have 10x squared minus 13x minus 3 got quadratic equation. So when I multiply this coefficient of x squared along with the x squared, I multiply it with this minus 3, I'm going to have minus 30 x squared. All right. So now, what two values can I multiply to give me minus x squared? And that if I add them, I'll get minus 15x. So I think 15x and also 2x. If I multiply them, I should get 8x. So how do I put this sign? Since this is negative, that means the bigger number will be negative. So I'm going to put a minus here, and then I'm going to put a plus here. All right. So 15 minus 15x plus 2x, we substitute minus 13x. So let's go. I'm going to have 10x squared minus 15x plus 2x minus 3. All right. So what's common in this first line? Let's look at it. We have 5x and going to of them. I'm going to bring out 5x. What's going to be left here is 2x minus 3. And then what is common here is plus 1. If I bring out plus 1, I'm left with 2x minus 3 equal to 0. So I have 5x plus 1, 2x minus 3 equals to 0. In case you are wondering, all I did was to bring this 5x plus 1 that was not inside the bracket. I put them inside one bracket. And then I just pick one from these ones together and I put them in the other brackets. So now I can continue solving that 5x plus 1 is equal to 0 or 2x minus 3 is equal to 0. So I'm going to simply make x the square root of formula in each of these answers. All right. So if I make x the square root of formula here, I'm going to have 5x equals minus 1. Or in this other side, I'm going to have 2x plus 3. So back to this first side, I'm going to divide, all right? X equals minus 1 over 5. And then here, x equals 3 over 2. So that's what I have here in option C, minus 1 over 5 and 3 over 2. So that is a wrap, and that is the conclusion of the past question for Waec 2023. If you enjoyed it, please do well to like and subscribe and watch my other videos on other past questions for other exams and taught. Thank you.